Chosen one, you didn't just stumble upon this message by accident. Heaven orchestrated this very moment, right now, in this very second. A divine interruption is taking place in your life, and it's crucial that you understand what's happening because everything is about to shift. I'm not talking about a gradual change or something that might eventually happen, but a sudden transformation, maybe even overnight, in one perfectly orchestrated moment that heaven has been preparing for longer than you even realize. I need you to hear me clearly. This message isn't for just anyone who happens to be watching. This is for the truly chosen few who have been walking through a situation that simply made no sense. You've been carrying a weight that others couldn't even see, pressing on through a season so long and so dark that you've questioned everything. You've questioned your faith, you've questioned your worth, you've even wondered if God forgot your address. But He didn't forget. You were being prepared. There's something shifting in the invisible realm right now, and it's going to manifest in your visible reality faster than you can imagine. But I need you to understand the difference between those who experience a breakthrough and those who miss it entirely. It's not about how long you've prayed, and it's not about how hard you've worked. It's about recognizing the moment when heaven moves and having the courage to step into what has already been prepared specifically for you. Some of you are feeling it right now. That stirring in your spirit, that unexplainable knowing that something is fundamentally different. You woke up this morning and the very air felt changed.
The trees speak in rhythm.
Been catching yourself thinking about dreams you buried years ago. Dreams you thought were dead and gone. You've been sensing possibilities where you only saw impenetrable walls before. That's not just wishful thinking. That's prophetic preparation. Your spirit is picking up on what heaven is releasing, and your soul is desperately trying to catch up. I've been where you are. I've sat in the waiting room of divine timing, watching others get called while my name seemed permanently skipped. I've checked my bank account with that familiar sinking feeling, wondering how much longer I could keep juggling what simply wasn't enough. I've smiled through celebrations while grieving private losses that nobody else even knew about. I've prayed prayers that seem to bounce off the ceiling and come right back down empty. I know exactly what it feels like to wonder if your season will ever change. But here's what I learned in that lonely place. And here's what you need to understand right now. Every single moment of that struggle, every tear you cried in secret, every bill you didn't know how you'd pay, every door that slammed in your face, every relationship that crumbled, every dream that seemed to die, all of it was soil. You weren't being punished, you were being planted. And chosen ones don't just grow. They bloom with such sudden, undeniable force that everyone who watched you struggle will stand in stunned silence at your spectacular emergence.
Focus on the texture,
Heaven doesn't operate on our timeline.
Yes,
it operates
now
on
it
Kairos
breathes.
time.
Mastery
Chronos is the
achieved.
clock on your wall, marking the seconds as
That
they tick by.
is your
Kairos is the
destination.
appointed moment when everything collides at
The
once
fate
in a
of
beautiful
our
symphony.
world rests.
You've been living in Chronos, counting days and months and years, feeling like you're running out of time. But heaven has been operating in Kairos, carefully arranging pieces you couldn't see, moving people you've never even met, preparing provision you didn't even know existed, all for one perfectly orchestrated intersection. And that intersection is here, right now. Let me tell you what's happening right now in the spiritual realm. There's a decree that's been released over your life. It's not something you earned. It's not something you can manipulate or
The compass
manifest through
reveals
positive
your
thinking
true
alone.
path.
This is a divine interruption.
Embrace
This
the
is heaven
journey.
declaring that the waiting is over. The testing has produced exactly what was needed. Now watch what I do, says the Lord. You're about to experience transformation in layers. Not just one area improving, not just a little bit of relief, but a complete systemic shift. A spiritual awakening that restores the strength you thought you'd lost forever. Emotional healing that lifts the weariness you've carried for so long that you forgot what true lightness even feels like. Financial multiplication that doesn't just meet your basic needs, but repositions you from scarcity to abundance. From barely making it to having provision that allows you to be generous and a powerful outward presence. A clarity, a favor so undeniable that the people who doubted you will suddenly go silent. Not because you're showing off, but because there's an anointing on your life now that's impossible to argue with. But here's what you need to understand about how this unfolds. The breakthrough doesn't begin in your circumstances. It starts in your spirit right now, in this very moment. Before you see $1 multiply, before you see one fractured relationship restored, before you see one single door open in the natural world, something has to take root deep inside of you first. You have to shift from begging to receiving, from striving to resting, from constantly explaining yourself to simply knowing who you are in Christ. See, most people miss their moment because they're still operating from a place of lack. They're still trying to prove themselves, still defending themselves, still consumed by anxiety. But chosen ones move differently. When heaven declares that it's time, there's a settling that happens inside of you first. It's not arrogance. It's assurance. It's not pride. It's identity. You stop looking for validation from people who were never assigned to affirm you in the first place. You stop wasting your breath explaining your God-given vision to minds that simply aren't equipped to understand it. You start guarding what heaven whispered to you in the darkness, protecting it in quiet obedience until it's time for it to be revealed to the world. Some of you have already started doing this without even realizing it. You've been pulling back from certain draining conversations. You've been feeling less and less of a need to post everything, prove everything, announce everything to the world. You've been spending more and more time alone with God, and less time seeking fleeting comfort from people who can't truly help you anyway. That wasn't isolation. That was incubation. You've been in the cocoon, undergoing a beautiful metamorphosis. And the profound transformation that's been happening in private is now about to manifest gloriously in public. I need to address something right now, because the enemy has been whispering insidious lies in your ear, and you need to recognize his voice so you can immediately silence it. He's been telling you that you missed your chance, that you're too old, too late, too broken, too far behind to ever catch up. He's been replaying your past failures like a cruel highlight reel, constantly reminding you of every mistake, every missed opportunity, every bad decision you've ever made. He's been pointing to your age and sneering, "People your age don't start over. People your age don't experience breakthrough. Your best years are long behind you." That is a blatant lie straight from the pits of hell. Let me tell you what the enemy knows, but desperately doesn't want you to figure out. He knows that when someone in their 50s, their 60s, or even their 70s experiences sudden divine acceleration, they don't waste it. They don't squander it on frivolous things. They don't take it for granted for a single second. They've lived long enough to recognize a genuine miracle when they see one unfolding before their very eyes. They've been humbled enough to stay deeply grateful. They've seen enough of life to know that what God is doing now simply wasn't possible through their own limited effort. And that powerful combination of hard-earned wisdom, profound humility, and unwavering gratitude makes them absolutely dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. It makes them unstoppable forces for good in the world. It makes them carriers of a testimony so powerful that it shifts atmospheres everywhere they go, bringing hope and healing to everyone they encounter. You are that person. The enemy has fought you so hard because he saw what heaven was preparing you for all along.
For
With
the
every
whispers
attack,
of the wind
every
carry the
painful
voices
setback,
of the ancients.
every crushing
The trees
heartbreak,
speak in
he
rhythm.
thought he was permanently destroying you. But heaven was skillfully using all of it to develop within you an unshakable foundation that can never be
Chosen
moved.
one.
You don't fold
Behold
under
the
pressure
legacy
anymore.
of those who
You don't
walked before
panic
you.
when things look utterly
Their
impossible
strength
from a
is
human
yours.
perspective. You've been through far too much to be easily moved by temporary circumstances. That's not damage. That's weaponized experience. That's the exact character required to carry the immense weight of what's coming. And what's coming is not small or insignificant.
Focus on the
Heaven doesn't
resonance,
prepare you this
the purity
intensely
of the
for a
tone.
minor upgrade or a lukewarm promise.
I can
What's
match
about
the
to
vibration.
manifest in your life is nothing short of generational. It's not just going to radically change your story. It's going to forever change your entire family's story.
Receive this
Your children
gift,
and your
warrior.
grandchildren are going to walk in a
And know
newfound
that your
freedom that you had to
strength
fiercely
shall
fight
never
for.
falter.
They're going to inherit a blessing that you had to birth through intense travail and unwavering faith. But it had to be you. It had to be someone willing to endure what you've endured, press through what you've pressed through, and hold on with white knuckles when everyone else would have long given up and let go. Now, let me tell you what specific signs to watch for, because the shift has already begun, and you need to recognize the divine signals. First, you're going to notice a supernatural clarity. Things that have confused you for years are suddenly going to make perfect sense. You're going to clearly see why
Focus on the
certain doors
texture,
were firmly
the light
closed in your
refraction.
face.
Yes,
You're going to fully
now it
understand
breathes.
why certain people
Mastery
had to leave your
achieved.
life. You're going to have moments where you look back at your
That
entire story
is your
and see the
destination.
unmistakable fingerprints of God on every single page,
The fate
even
of
the
our
painful ones
world
that you
rests.
thought were meaningless at the time. Second, watch for unexpected divine connections. People you've never even met are going to suddenly appear in your life, bringing with them valuable resources, exciting opportunities, profound wisdom, and open doors that you didn't even seek out yourself. These aren't mere coincidences. Heaven has been meticulously arranging these strategic relationships for this exact season of your life. Some of them will feel like unmistakable divine appointments, while others will feel like strange and delightful surprises.
The compass
Don't dismiss
reveals
any of
your
them out
true
of hand.
path.
God is carefully moving
Embrace
pieces into
the
place
journey.
on the cosmic chessboard. Third, watch closely for multiplication. It might start small at first, an unexpected check arriving in the mail, a debt miraculously forgiven, a bill that's surprisingly less than you anticipated. But that's not the end of the story. That's just the very beginning. Heaven is teaching you how to properly steward increase because what's coming requires you to fully understand that you're no longer simply managing limited resources. You're stewarding a powerful blessing that's meant to flow powerfully through you to bless countless others. When God multiplies what's already in your hand, it's never just for your own personal comfort or indulgence. It's always ultimately for your kingdom assignment. Fourth, watch expectantly for favor that makes absolutely no logical sense. You're going to confidently walk into rooms where you shouldn't seemingly have access. You're going to have meaningful conversations with influential people who don't normally give their precious time to just anyone. You're going to receive incredible opportunities that completely bypass the normal arduous process. And other people are going to look on in bewildered amazement, wondering, how on earth did they get there? The answer is wonderfully simple. You didn't climb. You were divinely lifted. There's a vast difference between painstakingly building a platform and being strategically placed on one by the hand of God. You've spent years diligently building in obscurity. Now, heaven is strategically placing you exactly where you need to be to fulfill your divine purpose. And fifth, watch carefully for supernatural peace. Not just the mere absence of challenges, but the tangible presence of God powerfully in the very middle of them. You're going to face overwhelming situations that used to instantly trigger debilitating anxiety. And you'll notice that you're not shaking with fear. You're going to hear devastating news that used to completely devastate you. And you'll feel a deep, abiding calm that surpasses all human understanding. That supernatural peace is not passivity. That peace is actually power. It's the undeniable evidence that you've successfully transitioned from simply surviving to actually thriving. From constantly reacting to gracefully responding. From being easily moved by ever-changing circumstances to being firmly anchored in your unshakable identity in Christ. But I need to warn you about something very important right now because this part is absolutely critical. When the breakthrough begins to manifest tangibly, your character will be tested in new and unexpected ways. It's easy to stay humble when you're desperate and have nothing to your name. It's far harder to remain humble when you're suddenly favored and blessed beyond measure. It's easy to be generous when you have nothing of value to lose. It's much harder to be truly generous when you have an abundance of resources and are tempted to hoard them for yourself. It's easy to fervently pray when you're in deep trouble and have nowhere else to turn. It's harder to stay consistently close to God when things are going exceptionally well and you feel like you don't need Him as much. The people who successfully sustain the blessing long-term are the ones who faithfully remember the difficult process, who vividly remember what it felt like to have absolutely nothing, who remember the desperate prayers they prayed on their knees when they honestly didn't think they could possibly take another step forward, who remember the unwavering faithfulness of God in the desolate wilderness so they don't foolishly lose sight of Him in the bountiful promised land. Stay deeply rooted in faith. Stay consistently grateful. Stay outrageously generous. The very moment you start thinking that you somehow earned this blessing, you'll instantly lose the anointing that attracted it to you in the first place. Let me tell you something else that's vitally important about this pivotal season. You're not just receiving a personal breakthrough for your own benefit. You're also being strategically commissioned and positioned for a far greater purpose. The incredible blessing coming into your life is not the ultimate destination. It's actually the powerful platform. God is not simply restoring you so you can passively retire into comfortable ease. He's actively restoring you so you can powerfully become a signpost for countless others who are still lost and wandering in the darkness. Your powerful testimony is about to become a weapon against the enemy's lies. Your compelling story is about to become a detailed roadmap for others to successfully follow. People who are currently walking the very path you just walked are going to desperately need to see that it's truly possible to come out victoriously on the other side. You're not just blessed. You're specifically chosen to richly bless others. Think deeply about what that truly means. Heaven carefully looked at your entire life and confidently said, This one has been refined enough to carry my glory without foolishly stealing it for themselves. This one has been humbled enough to lift others up without lording over them in pride. This one has been broken enough to truly know that profound healing only comes from me, not from the fleeting solutions of man. I can fully trust this one with increase because they vividly remember what it was like to have absolutely nothing. That's who you are, not because you're somehow perfect, but because you're perfectly prepared for the unique assignment that's been handpicked for you. Now I want to talk about the important concept of the one-night shift because this is often where people get confused and start to misunderstand. When we say that your life is going to radically change, in one night, we're certainly not talking about some kind of cheap parlor trick or mere magic. We're talking about that pivotal moment when everything that heaven has been painstakingly working on in secret suddenly becomes undeniably visible to everyone. You know how a tiny seed patiently stays underground for a long time, diligently growing its roots, and then one seemingly ordinary morning you walk outside and there's a vibrant shoot bravely breaking through the hard soil? It didn't actually happen just that morning. It was happening the whole time underground, unseen by human eyes. But the visible emergence certainly happens fast. That's precisely what's about to happen in your life. All the heartfelt prayers you fervently prayed, all the cleansing tears you cried, all the strong character you developed, all the profound humility you learned, all the unwavering faith you built in the darkness. It's all been diligently growing deep roots underground. And now, in what will feel like one perfectly orchestrated moment, everything is going to simultaneously break through the surface for the world to see. People are going to look on in amazement and exclaim, "Wow, you've changed overnight." But you'll know the deeper truth. You didn't actually change overnight. You changed over years of unwavering faithfulness that nobody else saw or fully appreciated. The overnight part is simply when everyone else finally notices the incredible transformation that's been taking place all along. Here's what I urgently need you to do right now. I need you to intentionally prepare your heart to fully receive all that God has for you. Not with anxious striving, not with needless worry, not with frantically trying to figure out precisely how it's all going to happen. You prepare your receptive heart by willingly letting go of control, by peacefully surrendering your own limited timeline, by fully trusting that heaven knows exactly what it's doing, even when you don't fully understand the often mysterious process. Stop foolishly trying to force doors open that God is sovereignly keeping closed for your own protection. Stop desperately chasing after people who are clearly supposed to. Walk away from your life. Stop clinging so tightly to old seasons that have already completely served their purpose. The reason you've been feeling so much tension lately is because you're stubbornly trying to hold on to what God is clearly telling you to release into His loving care. Just let go. Open your empty hands wide. What's truly meant for you will undoubtedly find you. What's specifically assigned to you by God won't possibly pass you by. But you absolutely cannot grab hold of the brand new blessings while you're still stubbornly gripping the old, outdated things. And I urgently need you to start speaking completely differently. Your powerful words have creative power, and chosen ones don't get the dangerous luxury of careless speech. Stop habitually saying, "I'm broke." Start boldly declaring, "I'm in transition." Stop pessimistically saying, "Nothing ever seems to work out for me." Start optimistically saying, "I'm learning to recognize divine timing." Stop despairingly saying, "I'm too old for this." Start confidently saying, "I'm finally ready for this." The way you consistently speak about yourself right now is powerfully setting the overall tone for exactly what you'll walk
With
into
this
next.
staff,
Intentionally
you shall
shift your
command
language,
allegiance.
and you'll powerfully shift your reality.
accept
There's something else
this
very
duty.
important that I want you to deeply understand about this pivotal season. The dramatic shift that's coming is going to effectively silence voices that have unjustly spoken against you
Drink
for far
this,
too long.
chosen
I'm
one.
certainly not talking about
Let
you
the
defensively,
iridescent light
defending
open your
yourself to
mind
everyone
to the
who doubts you.
whispers of the
I'm definitely not talking about you desperately trying to prove people wrong at every turn. I'm confidently talking about the undeniable evidence of God's loving hand so clearly on your life becoming so overwhelmingly obvious that your harshest critics simply won't have any more words to say. They won't have any valid arguments to make. They'll just be left in stunned, bewildered silence. You've been consistently misjudged.
The light
You've
will
been sorely
purify you.
underestimated. You've been carelessly counted out far too many times. People have prematurely written you off, dismissed your grand dreams, and mocked your unwavering faith. They arrogantly looked at your age and decided you were long past your prime. They shallowly looked at your bank account and decided you'd never amount to much of anything. They quickly looked at your painful setbacks and decided you were permanently cursed. But they were only looking at the seemingly ordinary caterpillar, and they had absolutely no idea that a magnificent butterfly was already forming deep inside. When heaven vindicates someone, it doesn't subtly whisper. It confidently declares it from the rooftops for all to hear. And the same people who unjustly doubted you are going to watch in utter
Strike
disbelief
the
as
center.
doors begin
They
to
are weakest
effortlessly
at the
open
gate.
for you
All
that have stayed
legions
firmly
to the
closed for
gate.
them for years.
Charge!
As incredible opportunities come your way that they've been desperately chasing for years, as abundant provision miraculously shows up for you in ways they simply can't logically explain. And they're finally going to realize that they weren't looking at a helpless victim. They were actually looking at a chosen vessel of God, and they tragically missed it. But here's precisely what you're going to do when that moment finally arrives. You're certainly not going to gloat with pride. You're definitely not going to boastfully post about it all over social media.
Behold,
You're absolutely
the
not going to
future
smugly say,
unfolds
"I told you
before
so."
you.
You're going to extend the same grace that God has so freely extended to you throughout your entire life. You're going to consistently walk in genuine humility. You're going to confidently let your transformed life speak powerfully for itself because chosen ones don't ever need to announce their grand arrival.
Listen closely.
Their very
For the
presence
whispers of the wind
unapologetically
carry the
announces
voices of the
itself with
ancients.
quiet strength.
The trees
Let me
speak in
directly
rhythm.
address those of you who are currently feeling the heavy weight of time pressing down on you. You're in your 50s, your 60s, maybe even older,
Chosen
and you're
one.
thinking, this
Behold
all
the
sounds
legacy
incredibly
of those
beautiful,
who walked
but
before
I've
you.
already been waiting for so
Their
long.
strength
How much
is
precious
yours.
time do I even have left to truly enjoy this amazing blessing? Listen to me very carefully. The absolute best years of your life are not tragically behind you. They're still vibrantly ahead of you. What God is about to do in this pivotal season is going to be so rich, so full, so
Focus on the
incredibly
resonance,
meaningful that it will
the
completely
purity of
eclipse
the tone.
everything that came before it.
I can
Moses
match the
was a
vibration.
vibrant 80 years old when he finally stepped into his divinely appointed assignment. Abraham was 75 when God first called him to greatness. Sarah was a miraculous
Receive
90
this
years
gift,
old when she
warrior.
finally gave birth to the
And know
long-awaited
that your
promise.
strength
Your
shall
age is
never
certainly not a
falter.
disqualification. It's actually your credential, proving that you're more than ready for what's to come. You possess unique wisdom that can only come from years of truly living. You have invaluable perspective that only comes from persevering through difficult times. You have unwavering faith that only comes from repeatedly seeing God powerfully show up when absolutely everything else has failed. Heaven certainly hasn't forgotten you. Heaven has actually been carefully preparing you for this exact moment. And let me directly say this to those of you who are currently
Focus on the
battling
texture,
frustrating health
the light
issues,
refraction.
nagging
Yes,
physical
now it
limitations,
breathes.
or low
Mastery
energy levels.
achieved.
That's certainly not what it used to be. The
That
all-encompassing
is your
transformation coming into
destination.
your life also includes vibrant
The
restoration
fate
in your
of
physical
our
body.
world
I'm
rests.
certainly not saying you'll never age or experience any future health issues. I'm confidently saying you're going to experience renewed strength and vitality for exactly what God is calling you to do in this next exciting chapter. The Bible boldly says that He renews your youth like the soaring eagles. That's not just a nice metaphor. That's a powerful promise. You're going to feel revitalizing life flowing back into places that felt dead and dormant for far too long. You're going to wake up with energy you haven't had in years. Because when heaven commissions you for greatness, heaven also powerfully equips you for greatness.
Path.
And an absolutely essential part of that comprehensive equipping is vibrant physical vitality for the upcoming assignment. Now, let's talk about the frequently sensitive financial aspect, because this is often where a lot of people struggle to believe that things can truly change for them. You've been living in scarcity and lack for so long that abundance just sounds like some kind of unattainable fairy tale. You've constantly juggled bills, carefully stretched every single dollar, and frequently gone without basic necessities. You've sadly watched others around you prosper while you've barely managed to survive. And now you're honestly thinking, how could my bleak financial situation possibly shift overnight? Here's what you absolutely need to understand deep down in your spirit. God is certainly not going to just give you a little bit more so you can merely struggle a little bit less. He's about to completely shift you from barely having enough to having dramatically more than enough. From constant scarcity to undeniable overflow. From routinely borrowing to generously lending. From endlessly worrying about basic provision to powerfully becoming provision for countless others. This is certainly not about selfish greed. This is definitely about strategic positioning. There are significant assignments in your bright future that will undeniably require ample resources. There are countless people you're going to be able to help who will desperately need you to have financial margin. There are exciting projects that heaven desperately wants to birth through you that will inevitably need funding. Your dramatic financial increase is certainly not just about your own personal comfort. It's about expanding your capacity for powerful kingdom work. But here's the essential key that you must fully grasp. It all starts with unwavering faithfulness in the seemingly small things. It all starts with diligently stewarding exactly what you already have now with absolute integrity. It all starts with being radically generous even when you personally have very little. Because God simply doesn't entrust more to people who greedily hoard what they already have. He confidently entrusts more to people who fully understand that everything He provides is meant to continually flow through them to bless others. When you wholeheartedly start living like that, confidently operating like that, generously giving like that, heaven will open financial floodgates that simply don't make any logical sense. Some of you are going to receive unexpected inheritances from surprising sources that you didn't even anticipate. Some of you are going to see dormant business ideas suddenly take off like wildfire. Some of you are going to receive incredible offers, valuable partnerships, and exciting opportunities that completely bypass years of arduous climbing. And some of you are going to experience supernatural multiplication where what you currently have in your hand just stretches further than it realistically should. Oil and flour that miraculously doesn't run out. That's not just Bible history that happened long ago. That's also present-day reality for chosen ones who believe. I desperately need you to hear this loud and clear. The breakthrough that's coming is already powerfully in motion. It's certainly not just something you're passively waiting for in the distant future. It powerfully started the very moment you clicked on this message. It undeniably started the moment your spirit deeply recognized the truth. It courageously started the moment you decided to truly believe that maybe, just maybe, your season is actually changing for the better. Faith is certainly not just idly hoping that something good will eventually happen. Faith is boldly knowing that something incredible is already happening right now,
Strike the center.
even when you don't fully see it yet with your physical eyes. So, what do you do while you eagerly wait for the visible manifestation to appear? You vigilantly guard your precious heart from doubt and fear. You diligently protect your hard-won peace from negativity. You wholeheartedly stay in powerful worship. You consistently keep speaking words of faith and life. You purposefully walk in obedience even when it doesn't logically make sense. You diligently maintain your integrity even when nobody else is watching you. You generously extend kindness even when you're personally hurting. You faithfully stay the course even when you're completely exhausted. Because the ones who ultimately receive the fullness of the blessing are the ones who courageously finish strong, not just the ones who initially start strong. And you actively watch for the specific signs that I previously told you about. The supernatural clarity, the divine connections,
Listen closely,
the undeniable
for the
multiplication,
whispers of the wind
the
carry the
unexplainable
voices
favor,
of the ancients.
and the deep, abiding
trees
peace.
speak in rhythm.
They're certainly not all going to magically show up at once. They're going to gradually unfold progressively over time. But each one is powerful
Chosen
confirmation
one.
that you're successfully
Behold the
moving from
legacy
one
of
dimension
those who
of blessing
walked
into
before
an
you.
even greater one.
Their
Each
strength
one is
is
undeniable
yours.
evidence that what heaven whispered to you in the secret place is now gloriously manifesting in the public square for all to see. I desperately want you to imagine something truly wonderful with me right now. Imagine yourself just 6 short months from now. Imagine standing in a reality that's so
Focus on the
profoundly
resonance,
different from where
the
you are
purity
today
of
that you
the
can
tone.
barely even recognize your
hear it.
transformed life.
I can match the
Imagine looking
vibration.
at your bank account and not feeling crushing anxiety. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of purpose that excitedly motivates you instead of a sense of dread that completely
Receive
drains
this
you.
gift, warrior.
Imagine having meaningful relationships
know that
all
your
around you that
strength
actually
shall
add
never
value to your
falter.
life instead of consistently subtracting from it. Imagine walking with a newfound confidence that comes from deeply knowing who you are and whose you are. Imagine looking back at this very moment and realizing that this was the undeniable turning point. This was the divinely orchestrated interruption. This was the one extraordinary night that dramatically changed absolutely everything. That's certainly not just fantasy or wishful thinking. That's powerful prophecy being released over your life right now. The undeniable evidence is undoubtedly coming.
Focus on
Not
the
because you
texture,
somehow
the
deserve
light
it.
refraction.
Not because you
Yes,
somehow
now
earned it,
breathes.
but simply because
Mastery
heaven
achieved.
sovereignly decided that it's your time. Because you were
That
specifically
is
chosen
your
for this very
destination.
moment. Because your divinely appointed time
The
is now.
fate of
And
our
absolutely
world
nothing in
rests-
hell or on earth can possibly stop what God has already powerfully set in motion. So, confidently lift your head up high, bravely square your weary shoulders, and take a deep, refreshing breath. You've been bent low for far too long. You've been carrying an unbearable weight for far too long. You've been fighting in the darkness for far too long. The dramatic shift is undeniably here. The challenging season has finally turned. And everything that maliciously tried to destroy you is now powerfully about to become the transformative testimony
compass
that forever
reveals your
establishes
true
you in
path.
greatness. Stand tall, chosen one.
Embrace the
Your beautiful
journey.
bloom is courageously breaking through the hard soil, and the whole world is soon about to see the incredible things that heaven has been secretly growing in.
The heavens align, the power ascends. Embrace the light, fulfill your fate.